right, here we go. Welcome to the Buck and Mike Experience.
Experience sports and maybe a little bit something else like you never have before.
Where the buck stops.
And the mic drops.
Bam.
And don't forget that you can jump to chapters on our YouTube video. You can jump to any topic you want. So that way you won't have to listen to certain things. If you just like NFL, you can jump straight to that. If you just like baseball, straight to that.
Because we decided at the end of last week's episode, after having a good time laughing at my misunderstanding of which MMA wrestler was which, that the experience, though we like sports, can experience more. And so we're going to let it. So we've got some pop culture, some superheroes, and all the other fun stuff that we just said, screw it, we'll talk about because it's our show. And if y'all listen, you listen. You don't, you don't.
And this is an experience. It doesn't actually say sports show, it's an experience.
Very true. And our description may say sports, but that's it. I can fix that. I wrote it in the first place. So, well, man, how was your week?
Fantastic.
Was yours as red hot as the Tampa Bay Rays?
No, it wasn't. No,
I don't think anybody's as red hot as the Tampa Bay Rays.
Nobody is as hot as that. I mean, the fact that they're 11-0 right now, they've got a 4-run lead. So by the time that we either finish this, if the game might be over, I don't know.
At the pace baseball's going these days, you know, you heard, I think it was like 5 different teams, Rangers included, expanded beer sales to the 8th inning now, which, if you don't know, they used to stop selling in the 7th because you guys sober up and drive home. Games are going so fast now that they had to increase it by 1 inning because they didn't want to lose out on the beer revenue. I mean, hey, that was one of the things that I thought about. That extra time, the fan experience. Like, you can't leave your seat too long because if you get caught in the long concession line and them, you might miss half a baseball.
Yeah.
And so
the rate that it's going, there's a big possibility you can miss a whole inning.
And you're going to miss probably a stolen base. You're going to miss, so much activity. We haven't seen that increased balls in play yet, but there has been so much more other activity that it's been entertaining. So,
but back on the Rays, I mean, they're working on 12 or possibly going 12-0. Right now they're 11-0. They're tied with the 1981 A's.
Yeah, just do me a favor and only win by 1. That's all I'm asking.
And the record is 13-0, held by the 82 Braves, who lost the NLCS, and the 87 Brewers, who didn't make the postseason at all.
In the first inning tonight, Randy Arozarena hit their 30th home run as a team. In this
30th?
The 30th home run. This is the 12th game. They hit their 30th home run as a team last year. Mind you, they were a playoff team last year. In the 34th game of the season. I mean, so not only are they just balling out. I mean, they haven't played the best of competition, but you play who's in front of you.
Yeah, you play who's in front of you.
And at the end of the day, they're all big league teams, so winning every game is still insane. But
the other thing that I saw was the point differential. Plus 63.
Run differential. Get it together, sir.
What I read, it said point differential.
Well, that person should be slapped. Baseball is runs, basketball is points.
Same difference.
No way.
Score. The plus 63 score differential.
Yeah,
you got a problem with that one?
Yeah, still not runs.
It's a score on the board. Anyways, it's the most in MLB history through 11 games. So
their current run differential is more than the rest of the teams in the positive combined.
And actually, well, let's add to it. They're already over 70. So
because they're up 4 right now. So it's still.
Let me take that back. They're not over 70.
With a runner on and a Arozarena, who the World Baseball Classic was. I mean, Arozarena's a good ball player. Like, he was already a good player. But he decided this year he was going to jump to that next level because his freaking World Baseball Classic performance just really woke up the people to him. And then he just shut up this season and just was like, okay, well, I'm going to bat cleanup and hit bombs this year. Get ready. So.
Looks like the Sox are at that now.
Someone's going to get out then. So. But that's been fun. The Rangers looked good. I got to watch the Rangers play the Cubs. Let me phrase that. The Rangers played the Cubs. I didn't get to watch it because it's on every platform of TV that, a normal person can't get in Texas. Not without paying $300 for MLB The Show package all season, or even if you have ESPN Plus, I couldn't watch the Rangers and the Cubs play because it's locally blacked out because it was broadcasted on a local network. So my two favorite teams played. Cubs took 2 of the 3, but I didn't get to watch any of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw the final highlight.
Yeah.
With Jonah Heim hitting that 3-run ball to win the game.
Last night, Heim hit one. That put the Rangers up to 7-4.
Yep.
And they are tied with the Angels for first place. And the Angels happen to have 2 of the best players that we've ever seen play the sport. So.
And unfortunately, the Rangers are losing Corey Seager for 4 weeks.
Yeah, minimum.
So.
Because it's a hamstring and he plays shortstop. So we say 4 weeks, but it could be 4. Ooh, not a play by the Red Sox second baseman. It could be 4 to 6 weeks. I mean,
it's.
Hopefully it's not too long because like we had talked about before, the shift going away, he is a guy that's going to see huge benefits from it. He's already started to see a kind of a boost in some of the numbers he was down last year. And that was a triple off the bat, the ball he got hurt on. He smoked that ball into the left field. So, there was all that fun stuff. Then you have, I hate the Cardinals. You hate the Cardinals, but we have to talk about the Cardinals.
No, you got to talk about it.
You got 2 things you got to bring up on the Cardinals. Nolan Arenado hits his 300th career. Good for him. We bring up milestones, even if we hate the team you play for. But more impressively, I think, is the 20-year-old kid. Jordan Walker, 12 straight games to start his career with a hit after a 9th inning broken bat single today to keep the streak going.
So, after I saw this, I tried to look up to see what the record was. I couldn't find it nowhere.
I was gonna say it probably wasn't.
Yeah,
Everyone
it's
says
not really. It's not something that anyone really kind of really paid attention to because you usually just kind of.
Well, and the other part is that it's an even bigger deal because it's been since opening day for this kid, where until recently with the newer CBA adjustment, we didn't see a lot of these younger players break in immediately with these guys' clubs because of how the manipulation is like. You really noticed it, for example, with the Chris Bryant deal, where the Cubs deliberately said, hey, you were the best player all season in 2015 in spring training, but we're sending you to the minors. And then literally 29 days later, he was called back up because that gave them 1 entire extra control year on his contract. And so that was one of the things that was addressed in the CBA so that these younger kids could get into the bigs. And it was something else like we talked about last week. This will help baseball in 15 years, because when these studs at 20 and 21 get to be studs, now we get the chance to start seeing records break again. And people watch records fall.
Oh, yeah.
The casual sport fan is going to pay attention to the game and they're going to know what's going on. But if you told me tomorrow someone's going for number 600, that's going to put him in the one of 6 players to ever do it. My phone's gonna have that ability to watch that. I'm gonna find somewhere that I can watch that. Like, I want to see that. That's sports history. I make a point to see sports history things happen live so that I can remember where I was when I saw them.
Yeah.
I watched Bonds hit it off Mike Bassick, the local radio host for us. Which he is a pretty cool dude. I've met him too.
Oh,
in passing at the Dirk Celebrity game, shook his hand, said hi.
Oh, okay.
It was really nice.
Okay.
He probably has no clue that he shook my hand, but
hey, well, if he watches this show, he'll know now.
Hey, you know, he does. You can guest spot with us, and I'll come guest spot on the fan with you. I'll take an extended lunch break to come on a KNC masterpiece.
Yeah, talking about all that with Jordan Walker and his hit streak, we should talk about the man that just hit for the Marlins' first ever cycle.
Yes.
Since they became a team in 1993.
Recently, this offseason acquired, don't ask me to say his last name. It's one of those.
Luis Arias.
Last year's American League batting champion for the Twins gets traded for a pitcher, Lopez. I can't remember the first name, but he was traded for Lopez. Lopez pitched against the Marlins the other day. Twins and Marlins played each other.
Oh, man.
And he held him. He pitched 7 innings, 8 Ks, with no earned runs. I mean, Lopez is balling out, and the Twins are in first in their division 2 weeks in the season. So they're not mad about the trade. But Arias is batting, 537?
537. Like, you kind of...
You can't shift against him now. Even when you could shift against him, he batted 340 or something last year. He's not going to bat 550 all season.
And something else that I thought was really crazy. This is more college baseball rather than
no complaints.
MLB. But the University of Indianapolis. I don't know if you heard about the pitcher.
I have not.
Okay, so he became the first player ever to throw a no-hitter and hit for the cycle in the same game.
I did see that, kid. The pitch didn't... Yes.
Like, that is incredible.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like,
get it together.
Whoa.
If you really are so great, Mr. Shohei.
Already showed up. You're supposed to be the greatest thing ever.
By a college
There's
kid.
a college kid that's already doing better than here.
Might have had an aluminum bat and probably facing guys that'll never play past slow pitch softball.
Exactly. I mean, it is true. Ball. And, speaking of Shohei.
Shohei? That's like my hey dude is a Shohei.
Otani. Shohei. But yeah, speaking of Otani.
He's just doing unworldly things right now.
Yeah. Blows my mind with actually what he's legitimately doing right now.
It's crazy that you can think there's no way he can do more. And then he's like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
He really does. He's the definition of the hold my beer, because he'll just turn around and, all right, I'm going to pitch 7 innings today and give up 1 run. I mean, it's nothing. His ERA is what?
It is well, I don't know if it's changed since I looked, but it was currently at .47.
Yeah. .47 ERA, and he's got a 300 batting average. The team's batting .240, so he's inflating their team batting average by 60 points.
Opponents are batting 100 against him.
Yeah. 100. Without the shift, when it's supposed to be easier to hit.
This is crazy. I knew he was good, and especially with what he did on the world stage, it showed it even more. And we already knew how good he was, but man, it's something happened during that just propelled him to a whole nother level.
It's
we're getting to a point where if you don't give him the award, you're just...
Yeah, you might have to make a new award.
It's basically what Michael Jordan was doing when he was playing. He got the scoring title every single year and an MVP just constantly. Yeah. Or Kareem, someone like that, where they're just constantly getting it. If he's not constantly getting it, something is wrong.
He's going to end up becoming basically breaking it, where he's so good, you don't give him MVP because he might have a regular Shohei season, and that's still an MVP, but someone like an Aaron Judge hit 64 home or 62 home runs, you're going to go, well, that guy almost set a record, but he still wasn't better at baseball and more valuable. The only thing that's hurting him is that the Angels still suck. Now they're tied for first, but they're no, they're not. They're now a half game back. They lost today. Did they lose today? No, they won today. They play the Red Sox in 2 days. So it is insane though what he does, and then who knows? Maybe he doesn't get a choice on where he plays baseball because we might see an expansion draft.
I was just looking a little bit more into this. The expansion is possible, but looking at the article, it's talking about how a team like the A's could relocate there, which
good and bad thing.
Not a far
what it is there is reports that there may be an expansion of an additional team to Major League Baseball. Salt Lake City is the rumored place that's got a group interested in wanting to bring a team there. The A's have been a very popular team to be moved for a while now. The Rays at one point were a very popular team. People don't forget that the year of COVID, the Rays had everything lined up to do a split home game season where they were going to play 41 of their 82 games in Tampa and 41 of their 82 games in Montreal. And that didn't happen because of COVID.
Overstated that.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, I still wouldn't be shocked because the A's play in a dump.
It looks like Las Vegas is the strongest candidate for the A's to relocate.
That would make sense too. The Oakland connection. It's kind of like the Raiders doing it.
Yeah. So
I wonder if they would. I mean, the city of Las Vegas does the whole 9 yards and will build them their own stadium and everything.
Oh yeah.
But Bo Jackson running across the infield when he was breaking for a touchdown back when they shared their stadium was always cool.
Yeah.
When the football team was playing in the middle of the baseball season. It also tells you, like, we go and look at a baseball field and you look at it and you're like, oh, that's not, like, the infield, that's not that big. But when you lay the infield of a baseball field on a football field, you realize just how freaking huge it is.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
When the throw from shortstop to first base, we all marvel at this quarterback that throws a 50-yard bomb. That's what the shortstop's doing. Like, shoot. And he's doing it. I mean, yeah, quarterbacks are getting hit. Like, it's impressive. He's standing. But some of these guys are doing it running the wrong way. Jeter could jump his body the wrong direction and make it all the way across the diamond.
That is true. So that put, I think we forget some of that stuff, not really realizing how far away it actually is.
Oh, for sure.
Because I forgot. Like, you bringing it up now actually kind of reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, like it was big.
But it also entertains me when we think about how big a golf course is. Because you talk about, we look at a baseball field, and when you see them hit a home run at 395 feet, you're like, wow, he hit 395 feet. That's a long way. Then you remember, golf measures in yards. There's 3 of those. 3 feet to every one of those.
Yeah.
And so when they're like, oh, it's a 500-yard hole, you're like, oh, it's not, oh my God, that's forever. Like, that's a long way.
That's massive. Yeah.
And so it is crazy when you start to see sports fields lay over and how their dimensions do come into play, because we look at 100 yards, and to this day, if I walk to a football field, I look at it and I go, damn, that's a long way. Like, if I had to run 100 yards, that's insane. But I go play softball where it's 70 feet bags and run those things, and I realize, well shit, if I run all the way around, I'm running 100 yards.
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
So it is pretty fun.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
I'm covering the spread right now.
It is a ball game right
Sox
now.
down by 1. I still want the Rays to win. Just lose by 1. I'm now going to make sure the rest of my parlay is intact, because I was worried about seriously a 3-run home run. I counted that one out. So
well, so I think right now good time to transition over to what's going on
in the other world of sports.
With the NBA right now,
which they don't call them the playoffs; they call them the play-in. If you ask me, if I'm playing a game that could potentially be my last game, it's the playoffs.
It's the playoffs. The season's done.
I get you're not getting playoff T-shirts and all that stuff, but the stadium for the home team that's getting to host this game, they're getting playoff ticket prices.
Yeah. It's a playoff game.
And so we saw last night's game. Lakers won an ugly game. AD looked awful most of the game. That was not. The fact that they came back and won in overtime was impressive. Because when I went to bed, I was like, oh God, they're going to lose this game. And that was with, oh goodness, I just forgot the kid's name. Kid's a stud. I love the kid. He was in the Adam Sandler movie.
Anthony
Edwards. Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
I knew what you were talking about. I was
9 points and shooting 0 of 9 from 3. I mean, he played awful, and he's a bucket getter. Like, he's got that give me points kind of mentality.
And not only that, but they also missed Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, because he decided that punching Kyle Anderson was a good idea.
Yeah.
But you know what? That Rudy Gobert trade looks worse and worse for them every time. You go back and look. They gave up 4 firsts.
It was dumb when they made
multiple players for a guy that has no offensive skill set.
Yeah. And
the kid that the Jazz drafted, Walker Kessler, had double the blocks that Gobert did this season. Like, that's one of you brought Gobert in so that Karl-Anthony Towns could score and lax back some on defense, and he could anchor the middle and lead the league in blocks. He's a defensive player of the year. And then he got out defensed by the kid that was picked in the first round. Literally most people's third, if you rank the rookie of the year votes, it's Paolo for the Magic, Then it's Jalen Williams, the kid out of Arkansas for Oklahoma City. And then the third one is Walker Kessler, the Jazz.
That's crazy.
So it
That's
keeps
crazy.
looking worse and worse for them as this scenario is playing out. And they paid him. Don't forget they gave him $200 million.
Yeah. When it first happened, I thought it was stupid. Just because why would you give up that much for someone that's not going to help you two ways?
Exactly. The game is so... I get how important defense is in the playoffs. Defense shuts down in the playoffs, and it shows out more. But that's... With improved defense needs, you have to have an improved offensive skill set.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have that. He can get you 12, 13, 15 points in the regular season where guys might be taking less effort at times to secure the long haul of the season. But bad deal. But anyway, they lose. They were expected to lose, so they will get the winner of tonight's Thunder Pelicans game. Thunder up, baby. The Pelicans are still without Zion. Well, let me phrase that. I need to say this correctly because he spoke in the first person. I don't know if you heard about this quote.
Yes. Oh, I did.
They're still without Williamson because per Zion's not going to play until he's 100% Zion. What the hell does that mean?
So to me, that means that he's mentally still not there. Physically, he's capable of playing, but mentally, he's not there yet.
Well,
because he's been injured so much that I think it's starting to be something that's in his mind that he's going to get hurt.
That I'm going to get hurt again.
Yeah.
That's fine, but don't be a tool.
I mean, it was really weird. Super
douchey. And I like Zion. When Zion came out, now I did say pick Ja before you pick Zion. I don't obviously know the ownership group, but I liked Zion and I liked Mac McClung. They were high school kids at the same time. They went to college at the same time. Mac obviously has gone a more challenging route, which his last game of the regular season, he went for 29-9.
Really?
Yeah. Because
nice.
Last game of the season, everyone who's locked in, they call up all the G Leaguers and let them run. The Thunder played a 7-man rotation their last game of the season, sitting all their key guys here at the playoff game. 5 of their guys played 40-plus minutes in the last game. One of the guys from Memphis was Kenny Lofton Jr.
Yeah.
He was the Summer League MVP. You haven't heard about him since then because he played 3 league minutes all year. He goes for 42 in the last game of the season, playing 48 minutes. So that's the only thing that makes the last game of the season fun for the teams that don't have anything to play for.
I didn't actually realize that they did that. I knew that they called them up because I remember Lofton getting called up. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
After he goes for 42, Lofton gets 4 years, $8 million contract. They were like, we might need to hold on to this cat. So, and he's on their playoff roster.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
He's not going to play, but he's eligible and on the playoff roster. You don't jack with your rotation this late in the season. But the kid's got.
Right.
He's going to bring something to the table that you can't turn down young guys that bring potential upside. But right now, the Bulls and Raptors are playing, and it's not pretty because in typical underperforming fashion, the Bulls are butts kicked right now.
Yeah, they are. 63-77.
Yeah. And that team has no excuses for being as bad as they are. I mean, I'll say this. They aren't the best shooting outside team in a shooting league. DeMar DeRozan's one of those mid-range specialists. He's not your outside three-point guy. That's kind of why Toronto had to move on from him in the first place.
Yeah.
It's because he couldn't expand.
I just realized that he's playing.
It was a big talk for him because he still calls Toronto home, except he's one of those shoot it real kind of guys. So when they asked him about it, he was like, Toronto is great except for paying double taxes of the Canadian border. So that was
that
always
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's true, but he still speaks glowingly of him. But I mean Zach LaVine is a great player. Well, let me phrase that. Zach LaVine is a good player who needs to get consistency because I mean that's the only thing that holds him back is he gets buckets, but then there's games where he just does not want to play defense. And so their winner gets the
I got it written down.
The Miami Heat. because the Miami Heat, which Charles Barkley jacked the Vegas betting line up last night because he said, I'll put $1 billion on the Heat winning the game. The Hawks suck. And so then Vegas sees a report of all these people that at the last minute run and put money on it, and then the Hawks just own them. Like the Heat at no point. And there was the problem with the Heat all season. The Heat play good defense. The Heat cannot play consistent offense. Bam Adebayo can defend at every level. The dude's a wizard on off defense. He's just not a consistent scorer. Tyler Hero, he can get you 20. Like he's got that. But if he's off, that's it. Him and Jimmy Butler, not the only shot creating guys they've got. Duncan Robinson got all that money a couple years ago because he was shooting 40% from three. He's shooting like 29% from three, and he hadn't seen regular minutes in like 3 months.
Good Lord.
I mean, like, one of the reasons that Adonis Haslam, who's never plays, but he's your glue bench guy, was still on the team is because he thought they had title aspirations because they do have such good talent. They just can't score. And so...
It is funny that you brought up Barkley because I don't know if you saw him making fun of Gobert. He went up to Kenny Smith and he goes, ran back and hit and he goes, I'm Rudy Gobert.
Oh my God. Oh,
I was like, good Lord.
8-point game now.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
We're gonna mess around and see a crazy comeback on our middle of our live show tonight. Which is completely off timing if you look at the video feed versus the score.
Yeah, right, yeah. One of the crazy things that happened, or something that I saw, and I thought it was like one of the craziest things, and this is a local thing, is the fact that no Texas teams for the first time in 40 years has made the playoffs in basketball.
This is true. But
and at the same time,
I was gonna say, you're gonna
every single California team
first time in the history of the league, all 4 California teams made it.
Don't California my Texas, but bring California over here and let me get some of that.
On the topic of California teams, put me a little bet in this morning or this afternoon.
Oh yeah?
Let's make this clear. I don't like Kawhi Leonard. I despise Kawhi Leonard. But I like Kawhi Leonard more than I like Kevin Durant, because we all know I hate Kevin Durant.
Oh, we definitely know.
Betting odds on the Clippers winning the championship were plus 3,300. So I put $10 on the Los Angeles Clippers winning the NBA title. I don't think they do it, but you know what? Kawhi's one of those guys that when the lights get on in the playoffs, we remember that he's really freaking good at basketball. Like, he is.
It's also got, Russell Westbrook on that team, so I'm sure.
I mean, I can't act like I don't. I have a rooting interest in Russ being successful. I don't hate Paul George, and he'll be back hopefully in time. But I'm going to be honest, as much crap as we've given the Warriors lately because of their god-awful home record, or road record, the last 20 games of the season, they didn't have Andrew Wiggins, who has been... He's not been the guy that everyone hyped him out of college to be since getting with them. Mm-hmm. But he's become the all-star level player that he was supposed to be. Like, he's become worthy of that number 1 pick he was since playing for Golden State.
And it's also kind of hard to do...
Well, yeah, because he was supposed to be the next LeBron James. And it was like, come on now. LeBron's still in the league. Don't do that to that kid.
I mean, they did it with all kinds of, like, Harold Miner was the next Michael Jordan.
And it's... You ruin people by giving them these lofty who they're going to be.
Was it Chris Childs? It might have been Chris Childs. I think Chris Childs
wasn't good enough to keep being remembered, that's for sure.
No. But everyone they gave that, this is the next Jordan, almost every single one of them flamed out.
Yeah, and so you don't see it. But he's been amazing since going to Golden State. Gary Payton II is one of the best defenders in the league, and all the drama of that trade at the middle of the season where he was hurt and he probably shouldn't have been traded.
Yeah.
Well, now he's healthy, and now he's coming in and playing for him. Klay Thompson is coming off of all these injuries, supposed to have been washed, just hit more threes in this season than he's hit in a single season in his entire career. Over 300 3 balls for Klay. So he's still got it.
Oh, yeah.
Draymond Green is just a catalyst for finding ways to piss you off to play better. Jordan Poole has become such a bucket getter that he was the 15th most popular jersey bought this season in the NBA. I can think of tons of guys that are bigger names than Jordan Poole, and he's 15th in the league in jersey sales. I mean,
from that list, Klay Thompson wasn't even on it.
Yeah, like, you look at the Warriors and realize that they were your title team for a reason last year, and now they've gotten healthy.
Yeah.
They're deadly at all levels shooting the ball, and they just got back 2 5-star, A+, however grading metric you want to go by, defenders in time for playoff basketball. They're the 6 seed? 5 seed. 5 seed, I believe.
5 seed.
I don't want to play them in the first round. No, they can't be the 5. They're the 6 because...
They were facing the Kings.
Yeah, they're the 6 because
Okay.
they're playing Kings. Vegas has them already as the favorite to beat the Kings. Everyone still thinks the Kings are just your fun Cinderella that made it. Basically, the Kings are what the Grizzlies were last year. They're the young team that made a bigger step than they should have. Next year, you might get actually seen as a contender if you do it again.
Okay.
So everyone thinks the Warriors are going to blast through them. The Warriors have the second best odds in the West to win the title, behind I want to say the Phoenix Suns. Who
I would assume it'd be.
Yeah, I believe it's the Phoenix Suns. They're like plus 850, something like that. I have all the championship betting lines up. Yeah, but I put a flyer on the Clippers. I hate that it goes against a lot of fibers in my body to cheer for Kawhi Leonard, but
yeah,
we know I love Russ, and I'd love to see Russ beat KD, which he did say there was no beef, which is horseshit.
I saw that.
Russ is a grudge holder.
Crap.
He fucking hates that guy as much as I do. He just didn't want to have drama in the playoffs. Russ, it's okay. We support you.
He didn't want to give him any fuel. He was like, no, we cool. Now, so, on the whole beef thing, we gotta talk about the fake goon of the NBA,
Brooks.
Like, this is like you. There are goons that have been in the NBA. They're like
Bill Laimbeer was a goon. Like
Charles Oakley, Dennis Rodman.
My wife's favorite player of all time.
Well, that's Cheyenne's favorite player
Bill
too.
Laimbeer?
Yeah.
My wife loves Bill Laimbeer because that's how she played. Get ejected.
And then you have Rodman, and then even Draymond is basically that way, but he's less that way.
But
he's
Draymond's
more
not ever going to back down from it. Like, he's right there with you.
Brooks
and he's done
is
stuff
just
with
a
himself.
fake dude that's trying to act out
and
to raise his name. Because no one really cares about him.
Exactly. And if Brooks has done something to this point, it'd be something. Like, I'd say something. And if he has affected the stat sheet in other ways. But really, all Brooks is Patrick Beverly. He's annoying.
Yes,
he doesn't put up consistent numbers. Every once in a while, holy crap, he dropped 30 tonight. That's it. Draymond, we call him triple singles, but you know what? He averages 9, 9, and 9. It's not like we're talking about 3, 3, and 3. There's a big difference in 9 rebounds, 9 assists, and 9 points. He's affecting the game with 3 steals. He does
exactly what you want.
Oh, yeah.
Like, exactly what you want. Plus getting in the head of everybody.
Steph
Dylan Brooks just doesn't do anything. And the fact that he called out LeBron
is hilarious.
Is the dumbest thing. And now he's got to face LeBron.
But he did. He said he wants the king. That's what his exact quote was. I want the king. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Lakers sucked the other night. LeBron went for 37 and 9. It wasn't his fault. The team looked bad.
So this is all I'm going to say. Clearly, a lot of people know that I'm not a big LeBron fan. But I want the Lakers to beat the absolute crap out of them. Because Dylan Brooks does not deserve to be in the playoffs.
I like Jaren Jackson. Like, I like the player. Mm-hmm. He's a damn good shot blocker. I've always liked him. I'm glad to see Jaws on this step back up. But it does feel, and I love Steven Adams, a former Thunder player. Yeah. He's always going to be one of my favorite players. But as a whole,
he's loved around the league.
Around the league, exactly. Honestly, he's the only guy on that team that's an actual tough guy.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, and that's what's funny is that Adams is seen as this big teddy bear, but everyone also knows don't piss him off. Like, he's fucking New Zealand. Like, he'll fuck you up. But the rest of the team, they just keep putting on that Patrick Beverly level fake tough guy thing that makes them. They want to be the bad boy Pistons, and they're just not that good.
Yeah.
John's good, but he ain't Isaiah yet.
No.
And so they are super hard to want to see be successful because of guys like Dylan Brooks.
Yep. I 100% agree. And I hate the fact that I want to root for LeBron.
Oh, I'm 100% rooting for LeBron.
I can't stand the fact that I'm going to root for him, but Dylan Brooks does not deserve to be in the NBA. So I hope LeBron just goes, you know what? I'm going to stay on you, and I want you to stay on me, and I'm going to hang 50 on you.
I think the Joker is a great player. I think they have some quality pieces on the Nuggets, but for some reason the Nuggets are a team you look at as the one seed that you're just like, you don't feel like they're going to bring anything to the table.
It really is weird because they have just...
And it's been consistent. This is
such
2 years in a row.
Really good regular season team.
And they have
and
this year they're coming in healthy. We forget that they have very good players. Aaron Gordon's back to playing some of the best basketball he's played in his career. Gilchrist. Goodness, I'm going to forget his name. I'm so good at forgetting names. Standings, because that's the easiest place to find their roster. Denver Nuggets. Roster. ESPN, you can find anything. Reggie Jackson, Nikolai Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. That kid's a bucket getter.
Yeah.
Average defender, he's a bucket getter. DeAndre Jordan, he comes off the bench, but he's a solid role-playing big man off the bench for that team. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he's catch-and-shoot guy. I mean, they've got they're just overwhelmed with good players, but they have one great player. Jamal Murray, he has moments where he looks like he's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, he has flashes, but then you look down, he's 24-6. That's his numbers for the season. Points, rebounds, assists. And you're like, I mean, he's good. But is he the second best player on a team that can win a title game? I don't know.
Right.
So, even though they're the one seed, you don't look at them and go, depending on who wins the 8 seed coming between the Wolves, if the Wolves get healthy, they're loaded with talent. The Pelicans were in the top 5 seeds most of the season, or top 6 seeds before Zion got hurt. So if Zion does figure out who Zion is in time, you give him Zion and I'm going to forget names all night. I'm about to start writing everybody's roster down.
Lonzo?
No, Lonzo's not on that team anymore. He's a Bull.
Oh, that's right.
He's got that crazy weird knee injury that might never play basketball again. That Jose Alvarado, solid defender. Brandon Ingram, he's a bucket getter. That kid's only 25. Brandon Ingram's a stud. CJ McCollum, proven guy that can go and get a bucket for you. Valanciunas, solid defender. I mean, they've got a good team. You can literally look down and go, I wouldn't be shocked if the 8 seed beats the 1 seed. Hell, the Thunder, as young as they are, Gilgeous-Alexander was one of the only 6 guys in the league to drop 30 a game. Superstars are superstars. Jalen Williams.
I had to do something.
Hey,
my team's not in the playoffs.
The rookie, technically, we're not in the playoffs yet. Got to win tonight to then win again over the Wolves. Rudy, can you go punch someone else? Because we don't have a lot of big men. You being suspended one more game would be really good for my team. I mean, but I really do. You can look at the 8 seed and see how there's an argument that they win the 1. The 2 seed, the Lakers, if the Lakers play better than they did, play like that team is capable of playing, the Lakers easily could get by the fake tough guys. All the challenge of the West starts really digging in when you get into those middle teams where teams like Golden State, teams like the Clippers, teams like the Suns are all teams that are loaded with playoff experience.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just going to go, well, okay. Now's the time that y'all all prove why y'all are great players in your late 20s, early 30s. That's what they are. I mean, LeBron exception, he's in his early 40s almost.
Pretty much.
And so...
A little bit younger than me, but...
Yeah.
Pretty close.
So it'll be entertaining. I mean, the playoffs start in 4 days?
Yep.
Play-in tournament goes tonight, tomorrow, and the next day, and then we start playoff basketball. So
Saturday is week 1 of the playoffs.
Which are the longest playoffs in sports. They start in April and they don't end, I think, until like July. Because the NBA does these crazy schedules where they're like, oh, in the regular season we can play every other night, and in the playoffs they're like, we're gonna take 4 days off. And you won't see them play.
Yeah.
You'll forget they're in the middle of the finals. You're like,
Yeah.
what? It's been 4 days. They're still playing.
Makes no sense sometimes.
So that's always fun. Well,
a little bit more local news. Do you think Kyrie's going to be gone?
they say he wants to be here. I've heard a few different arguments that say why it's good and why it's not.
I mean,
He does tend to leave teams in turmoil.
And then he also tells every fan base where he's at that he wants to stay, and then he's gone. So.
Well, he actually didn't tell the Celtic fan base he wanted to stay. He told the Celtic fan base, if it's the best option, I will stay. That was the
He told
word.
Brooklyn.
He told who?
He told Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah, he told Brooklyn he wouldn't be there, and then he turned around and said, I want the hell out of here because I don't get along with Kevin Durant. Because Kevin Durant's a bitch. Nobody likes
Because
him.
apparently nobody can get along with Kevin Durant.
Thank you. It's all Russ's fault
so-
until KD blows up 3 teams.
I mean, Russ can't stick with the team either. So.
That's because he's old now and he's an athletic player, okay? His athleticism's diminished and he never developed a jumper like LeBron did.
So, with the Kyrie talk done, do you think the Mavs fire Kid?
That's another good question. I mean, I think that team needs help to be a contender, but I think that they're too close to being a good playoff team to have a coach that is what I see as a starter coach.
Pretty
I
much,
feel
even though
like
he's been coaching for a while.
Yeah, but what I mean by a starter coach is that in a situation like the Rockets, where it's a young team that's not winning yet, like what Mark Jackson was for the Warriors.
Okay.
Mark Jackson doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, for getting the Warriors to where they are because he built that team. Like he lined the stars up.
So it's
the core of that team is Mark Jackson.
Yeah.
And then they said,
technically his team.
They
Steve
came
Kerr
in and were
took
like,
his team.
we need a new voice. And Steve Kerr's a great coach. He did take them to the next level.
Yeah.
But they went in, they got that new voice who is that next guy. And sometimes an organization has to get a guy. There are the great coaches, the Popoviches, the guys like that. They can take that young, inexperienced group and get them to the next level.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a guy that can get you to the cusp so that someone else can get you to the next spot. I think Jason Kidd could be the get you to guy.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Now I think the Mavs need the get you over the step guy.
Okay.
Like that's the best way that I could put it.
And that's a good explanation. Like, so if people ever like want to question that, like that, I mean, that's a really good understanding of where they are and where he is.
I think that at a certain point, and it's probably why you see a lot of big name coaches get rehired and get jobs again, because at a certain point, even the great players, like that was one of the knocks that I could say that I've seen in LeBron's career a lot of the time is that he's never, for the majority of his career, he's never had a Phil Jackson. People forget the importance of Phil Jackson to Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson to Kobe Bryant, because Phil Jackson could walk up to Michael Jordan and say, no, you listen to me when it comes to this moment.
Well,
Phil Jackson could walk up to Kobe, to Shaq. He could do that. Why? Because he got skins on a wall for those players of that level to respect him. The best coach LeBron ever saw was Mike Brown.
Pat Riley.
Pat Riley when he got to Miami. Other than that, but Pat Riley wasn't his coach. Pat Riley never coached. Pat Riley was
Spoelstra.
He had Spoelstra. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Spoelstra has become a great coach.
Yeah.
Don't ever want to take that away from the evolution that he did. But the
got it
hand
at the
he was
beginning.
dealt to get him going was pretty fucking friendly.
Yeah.
Now, he's done things with that organization. He has become a great coach. But he had a helping hand.
Yeah.
So really and truly, no, I can't say that his situation in Miami was great coaching.
So, but yeah, and I'll say this, and the reason why I have issues with it, not the issues that you're bringing up, more of the fact that LeBron hasn't really had that, because he kind of has a say in picking a coach.
there was
like, and not that he has the full
nowadays,
say,
though,
but
the
he
league
does get some say.
Yeah, but the
into
league
it.
that's because now the league is so players need to be happy focused
Mm-hmm.
that, and I don't disagree with this. Your 3 best players should absolutely be called in when a decision that directly affects their careers is being made.
100%.
Now, I don't think Luka should be the only voice at the table.
Well, I mean, from what I'm hearing, he's just not a leader, so I wouldn't want him
also
in there by himself anyway.
I would want my GM in the room with my best player, my vocal leader, and that next guy, that guy that's going to be there, because those are the guys that need to be helping give their opinions. Now, yes, the GM has the final say, but I think a good GM works with his players to find that piece.
Oh, yeah.
Just like I think a good owner works with his players that are already on his roster to find that GM, to help find that coach. And so I think those are all things that play in, and it's easier to do that in basketball because you have smaller rosters.
Yeah, that does make it a lot easier.
I think Kyrie ends up re-signing. I just don't know that I think it's the right decision. I did see a crazy fun theory though, where the Mavs trade Luka for the number 1 pick, and they draft Biyombo, and they're just like, screw it, we're going full rebuild, but also we're getting one of the greatest prospects in the last decade.
It's like giving up one of the greatest prospects in the last decade.
That great prospect was only the 5th pick or 4th pick. That being said, they could turn around and trade for Trae Young, and then they had Trae Young, and the kid they traded was Trae Young to get Luka, and now Trae Young is available. They could trade for Trae Young. You could sign and trade Kyrie to the Hawks, get Trae Young. There you go. You got more. You got you a bucket, Skitter.
I just don't like Trae.
Yeah, it's because he went to Oklahoma.
It's not really that. It's just that I do hold against him, but I just don't like him. I just don't like him.
Man, that's a bummer.
He's
a good ball player. I don't think they actually trade him, even with the rumors. But.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on, because we've been we'll dilly on for hours.
Oh yeah.
Do we want to get into the pop culture world now, or do we want to touch on...
I kind of thought about that, like breaking it up a little bit.
Bring it in, yeah. So with that, we've got Marvel talk, and we have another. With some of you don't know, this man here is a big book guy. Big time. I'm not much of a book guy. He's got his own website. Please promote it, because I'll probably say
wolfmantula.com.
Book reviews. He's got his name posted on the back of books because of his reviews. He's into the world of books. I know books that become movies. And a book that became a movie that literally was the length of my childhood. I mean, I was the same age as the kids that they picked to run these, was Harry Potter. I mean, every time a Harry Potter movie had his birthday, I had my birthday. So, you're living these books. I was living these movies with them. I read one of the books, it ruined the movie for me, so I didn't read the other books. This is true. Listen, and even now I've gone back and looked. The 6th Harry Potter movie is the worst movie by far. It's awful.
I agree with that.
And it's largely because it was so rushed because of everything that had happened in that book. It should have been 2 movies itself. They should have decided at that point, hey, we're doing Deathly Hallows in 2, and we're doing Half-Blood Prince in 2. Because there was just too much information that was needed for the Hallows that was not brought up if you didn't read the books.
To be honest, that's one of them I haven't read. It's because it's geared more towards a younger audience.
Well, I got a small IQ.
Well, I mean,
I'm just kidding.
I just mean it's technically YA fantasy, like young adult fantasy.
Yeah.
Now I do read some of that. I mean, I read all of Rick Riordan's books, with the Lightning Thief and all that.
Oh, okay.
So I've read all those, and
those
that's
are the
going to
Percy
be
Jacksons.
yeah.
No,
Percy
they're
Jackson.
making that into a Disney Plus series.
Yeah,
which that'll be good because Disney's doing it.
And Rick Riordan is like going to be.
Yeah,
he's involved with 100%.
I am enjoying the fact that we're going to start seeing these books made into TV series. Like, I understand the big picture of why the cinema is fun, the movie screen, the whole 9 yards. But when you make them into a TV series, you can do so much more.
Yeah, because you
in
have so much
hour-long
time.
episodes
Yeah, you have
that
so
you
much time.
can in 2.5 hours of movie film.
I agree with that.
Like,
back on top of that, like I didn't mean to.
The reason it does lead directly into the fact though that the reason Harry Potter's in our discussion is their HBO, which is notoriously good at making these, has said we're taking every book and we're making a full-on TV series.
And I believe every season is going to be a book.
Which means that they're gonna be, if it's anything like they did with Game of Thrones, rest its ending, we're gonna see 7 seasons over the next probably decade. I mean, possibly 14 years, because they might do 2 years a damn thing. Probably see 10 episodes, an hour and a half long. I mean, they're going to be damn near movies in their own right. Like, that's how they did it. And I don't know how you make the first book that long, because honestly, that one was kind of a snoozer. Like, the fact that they exploded like they did after the first one being kind of but it was cool because I was his age.
Well, so you read them when you were younger.
No, I never read them. I literally watched every movie opening night until until the 6th book, where my wife, the time girlfriend, had, because I mean at one point Harry Potter movies were coming out every other year.
Yeah.
And because it was a lot to make and everything else, my wife, then girlfriend, harassed me about just reading one of the books, and I was working as a night security guard, and I read all of Twilight. Yes, I read all of them. They were really good, and I liked them. I like teeny fiction. We all know I love One Tree Hill. Just get over it. But I watched, I read the 6th book, finished it the night before the premiere, which we had tickets to. Went to the premiere, had a little bit too much to drink before the premiere, but watched the movie, and I thought, this sucked. And initially I blamed it on the fact that I had drank too much, and thought, man, I gotta go back and watch it again. So I go back and watch it again.
It's because you knew the events.
And I thought, where is this? Where is this? Where is this? Where is that? This is a big deal, and it's not in here. And my wife's like, you want to read the next book? I said, fuck no. I said, I've spent 14 years watching these movies. I'm not ruining the last 2 movies over a book.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
So I never read
reading Percy Jackson, and then
my wife's read all of those.
And then going back and watching those movies.
Oh, they were bad.
Oh, they were so bad.
I didn't. Okay, so like the first one was okay.
Huge into
like
Greek mythology, so I loved it. But when I first watched them, I loved them. After reading the books and then going back and watching them, I was like, oh my gosh.
How did I like this?
Like, this is terrible. like these books are just so much
movies
different.
Like, the first movie was like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, we could get something out of it. And then, wasn't it the second one?
With the brother?
I think
with
so.
With the eye,
Yeah, and then after that, it was just like, no. There's been a few series, though, that they took books and they started really strong and then it just fell off a cliff. Like, the Fantastic Beasts movies, the first 2 were amazing, and largely that's because of the...
I think I only watched the first one.
It was really good.
Yeah.
The second one's really good. The thing that killed the Fantastic Beasts series
was Johnny Depp.
Is Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that the movie was necessarily terrible. It was that people boycotted seeing the movie because they didn't feel that Johnny Depp was treated fairly. And I don't blame him. He wasn't. He was fired because someone said something and they did not give him due process. They said, no, we're washing our hands of this because we don't want to. But in the same right, they kept the kid who is now the Flash, who is the king of screwing up and keeping his jobs. And so really and truly, the thing that killed Fantastic Beasts was nobody wanted to go watch because they were mad about Johnny Depp.
The Red Sox lost by 2.
Damn it. And that is what sucks.
12-0.
When you have a 1.5 point spread and you lose by half a point. $190.
Yeah, so the other thing I wanted to bring up was the Marvels trailer.
Looks pretty good. It
I
was
thought
a teaser, right?
Yeah, it
wasn't a full
just
trailer.
looked for a teaser.
People give her a lot of crap. Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. I think she's really good in the role. I've heard she's a bitch to work with.
Yeah.
But as far as the role goes, she's done a pretty good job.
So this also kind of leads me to Katherine Heigl. So
okay. I know who she is.
Okay.
Can't remember her role off the top of my head, but I know who she is. See?
The pregnant movie with
pregnant movie?
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
Where she was pregnant. It was with Seth Rogen.
Okay. I know you're about.
Okay. So she was also in
Knocked Up.
Yeah, Knocked Up.
Yeah.
So she was also in the popular medical TV show.
There's a
Grey's
Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy. She was in that.
All right.
I think she was. Yeah, I think she was in earlier.
Who knows?
But anyway, so she got a reputation for that same thing, being hard to work with and everything. She came out later on and talked about it. She goes, it wasn't that I was hard to work with. It was I wasn't letting people run over me.
What? That makes sense. Well, that's how what's his name that played the Hulk before they switched Hulks?
No. He was hard to work with.
He's
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton's an ass. Like no one likes working with Edward Norton. But the
the
story of
issue
how
with
they
him-
switched Hulks is hilarious.
Yeah, the issue with him was he was constantly wanting to do rewrites and do things his way. That they finally just got tired of him. They were like, "Look, you're an amazing actor, but we're not doing this.
Yeah,
like we're done. We got this script. You quit changing stuff."
Have you heard the story of how they switched the Hulk? How they switched to goodness, now I'm gonna forget his name.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. So they did the reading for who was gonna be for a bunch of different actors, and they brought Ruffalo in, and they're like, "Hey, read this." He read over it, and they said, "Here's what's going on. Tomorrow is San Diego Comic-Con. If there's a limo in front of your house at 4 a.m., you got the part." And Mark Ruffalo goes home. He stays up all fucking night. He does it now. He's excited. Limo shows up. He gets in the car. He gets shuttled into a jet. The jet flies him in real quick. He shows up at 11 o'clock for the display of the Hulk. Robert Downey Jr. is up there talking. He's hyping it all up, and he goes, "In the Hulk!" And he says, "Edward Norton." Because he didn't know they'd recasted him.
Oh.
And then Mark Ruffalo walks out and he goes, "Edward Ruffalo!" And that was how he was introduced as becoming the Hulk.
Okay, I see. I never knew that.
I watched a video where he gets interviewed. He tells the whole story.
Okay.
It was real funny.
Well, so that whole thing. So back to Brie Larson. Like, I'm not 100% sure if it's just if she's the similar situation to Captain Heigl, where she's just not taking shit from people. And like,
she does give a very good resting bitch face.
She does.
She
does.
has one, so you could potentially just see that she might be a bitch just because of that, and she might be cool as shit. Like, I don't know, but I've heard that.
One of the things. So I was a big fan of Monica Rambeau, which is one of the other Captain Marvels.
Yeah.
From the WandaVision series,
which was a
great series.
Great time.
And I
Slow starting, but finished strong.
Yeah. I loved Monica Rambeau from that. And it's not Rambeau, it's Rambeau Rambeau.
Yeah.
But the only one that I had an issue with was Miss Marvel, which was the young girl. I tried to watch the show, and because I was like, I'm not going to.
You don't want to mess up the watching series because it all goes in.
That, and I don't want to just put this stigma on. It's a kid's show, so I'm not gonna watch it. Like I wanted to try. I got through 2 episodes, and I was just like, you know what? I don't like this.
I have to tell you, as for how I didn't want to watch the WandaVision after 1 or 2 episodes. Like it started out that bad to me. There were a couple episodes where it was like, it just felt right. Like the story didn't feel great to me. But the last 2 episodes of that show really were like, oh shit, this starts to make a lot of sense. And so when it all summed up, I was like, okay, I'm going to end up rewatching this at some point to remind myself that it was confusing to get here. But the journey comes to a good end.
You want to hear something really crazy? That is exactly the way I feel about this season of Mandalorian.
I still haven't started it.
So I'll say this. tonight was the penultimate episode of the season, second to last episode.
Okay. Didn't know that was a name thing.
Penultimate.
Yeah.
Yep. That means second to last. So tonight was that episode, and to me, all the episodes leading up have just been, I don't know, they just didn't feel like they all fit in this one season. Like it felt like they should have been part of a different season, or just like a small part of an episode rather than a full episode.
Okay.
Like last week, there was an episode with Jack Black and
I want to watch Jack Black.
So one, I'll say this: I didn't have a problem with them two. Like I thought they were great. It was funny. Put Jack Black in something, I'll watch it. I love Jack Black.
It's hilarious.
The issue I had was the episode was just a side quest. The entire episode.
It was just about
to meet someone else at the very end.
I am the king of hating filler episodes.
And that's what this was.
I hate filler episodes.
And
it drives me nuts. When you're in the middle of a strong story and something is going, and then they throw an episode at you, you're like, you could have done this way long ago.
The whole I wouldn't say the whole season has been a filler episodes, but they've been just sort of off. They didn't feel right. Yeah. Like some parts of it, you were like, oh, I like this, and then you watch the rest of the episode, and you're just like, I like this part, but this week's episode, they hit it hard. Like if
next
the
week
first
sucks, you're gonna be
six,
pissed.
if the first 6 episodes of this season were graded, I would say like a 4 of all of them, like a 4. This one was a 9.
Of course.
Like it went from to
Yeah.
and
so then
it introduced stuff that ties into the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
Where you're going.
Which we do have that coming now.
Maybe if you
Star Wars coming.
Yeah. If you were always kind of questioning, well, where did these guys come from? Now we got an answer. Damn. Like they answered it, and they answered it in the most badass way. Like it is so cool.
Freaking get in there and watch
So
it.
next week's episode, I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be good just because of how this one went.
Okay.
Cool. And it made me feel good about the fact that they're going to salvage a subpar season with 2 phenomenal episodes to finish it. And then apparently there's going to be a movie. I don't know if it's going to be just on Disney Plus, but they're apparently making a Mandalorian movie that's going to tie everything together after this. So this could be the final season. I don't know. Because it's kind of weird that they're going to be making a movie to tie things together after this season.
Doing all this. That is interesting. So, well, we'll keep carrying on because we have a few more things we want to hit on.
Yeah, well, a little bit more pop culture. Kind of pop culture-ish, right?
What's that?
Jake Paul.
It is. It's a mix. We're going to be able to transition this back into sports.
Yeah.
Jake Paul fights Nate Diaz. Look, Jake Paul, I don't hate the kid. Everyone hates on him because he's always just, you know what? He got more balls than me. I ain't getting in the ring and punching him out. He's out there. He's making his money. He's doing his thing. And he's not scared to back up what he says. He's going to get in the fight with guys. No, he does not need to go in there and fight legitimate, in their prime boxers. He will get his ass kicked and we won't get entertainment. But Nate Diaz can fight. Yeah. And Nate Diaz is a street fighter, which means that, he's a great martial artist and everything else. But if I got drunk and got in a bar fight, I'd hope Nate Diaz was on my side. So, sure, he might not look mechanical, but this is the first time that I'd be willing to get with a group of people and pay to watch a fight. Yeah. Because Jake Paul and him, they're going to throw blows. That's the one thing you also have to say about Jake Paul is he throws punches. He does. He don't always hit them, but he throws them.
Look, I've been one that's been against him quite a bit, but I mean, you just because he hasn't really fought like legitimate people.
True, but he just fought an actual boxer.
Yeah,
he fought Fury.
He fought the Gypsy King's brother.
Yeah, so he fought the lesser Fury, but he fought a Fury.
And I mean, I wouldn't want to fight the Gypsy King. I mean, that's just stupid. That's just asking for a lot.
That's a big man.
But I mean, it is one of those things where he does kind of skate around getting these guys that are kind of fighters, but they're not boxers. Like, you know that they're going to put up some of a fight, but you also feel like he's still got a shot.
But you know what? Them throwing punches and not being generic running away boxing is more fun.
Oh, 100%.
100%. As great as Floyd Weather was at the sport side of boxing, holy crap, the Bulls came back and took the lead with a minute and 30 seconds left. As good as Mayweather was at the sport side of boxing, he was boring. Nobody wanted to watch him run in circles the whole time.
I hated watching him.
It was awful.
And that's why I hate him so much, because it was just boring.
And now he brought it a
that's
sport.
That's why people like Pacquiao was so popular, because he was fun to watch.
Because Pacquiao would throw punches.
Yeah,
and
Triple G.
Got mayor of a country. Or the governor.
Not GSP.
Not GSP. Look, okay. One time, and it led to expanding our content creation. So shove it. So get into him. Now as we roll into more sports,
there's a little bit more in this area. So Masvidal retired. After his loss, I think a lot of people were kind of expecting it, just because
great fighters lose a couple fights and they realize it's done.
Yeah, they realize all right, my time is up.
Don't ruin your legacy by being a punching bag. Get out of there when it's time. It makes sense.
So he's done, and then of course, Airbender went in there, whooped up on Pereira.
Dude, I really liked his celebration. Like, I didn't watch the fight, but I saw his celebration. He pulled the arrows out while the dude's laying on the ground and was just like, "Duh, duh."
That's not his celebration.
Was that the other guys?
That was Pereira's
celebration. Well, that was even cooler than because he said, "Duh, duh."
Did you see what he did after that?
No.
He pointed into the crowd at his son and fell down like he was knocked out. The reason is because his son did it to him when he got knocked out.
Oh.
But his son was in the ring and did it right beside him as he was laying there getting up.
Oh.
So after he did it, he went over there and pointed at him and fell down to make fun of his
Now
dad.
I'm glad he won.
Yeah.
For the little I know, that's awesome.
Like, I was so happy. Like, he needed that loss to humble himself, to realize, because all these guys, they always need that one time sometimes. Yeah. Like, Floyd obviously didn't need it because he moved around a lot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you've got guys like Adesanya and Spider Silva who they ended up getting too cocky, believing in themselves. Conor McGregor
1,000%. And I loved Conor McGregor. He got off the rails.
Ronda Rousey. You just got to a point where you believe
she is the reason that women's fighting is any good. Gets her.
What I mean by that
respect.
Though is Holm. What was her name? Something Holmes.
Yeah, I knew about. I can't.
Holly Holm.
Holly Holmes. Yeah.
So the reason why I say this about not being humble or needing to be humbled was she got to a point where she was so cocky that she went in to face a kickboxer and was going to out kickbox a kickboxer, and she's not a kickboxer.
And that was the end of it.
Like, sometimes you just it was. Yeah, that was her downslide. But
and now
sometimes these people just
WWE.
They need to be
humbled. It's kind of funny. She's gone full circle.
Yeah. They just need to be humbled, and he got a little bit of that humble juice. He was like, you know what? Okay, I've got it. Yeah. And he came back and beat the crap out of him. Man, it was beautiful. I loved it. Well, but so now then
we go into Masters was last weekend. That was fun. We almost predicted the winner. And top 10 finishes for the winner, and for the schmuck that no one's ever heard of that was probably in his last year of college. His name was Bennett. He was tied for second going into the third day. I'm just saying, I made a small clip just so y'all remember that I said those things. Brooks Koepka absolutely crapped the bed the last 2 days. Winning score was -12 for John Rahm. Koepka was -12 going into the weekend. Now the weather played into it, but everyone had to deal with that. And he shoots +4 over the weekend.
He complained constantly about the play time because apparently it was just moving too slow for him.
Was it? I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
I saw
he complained quite
props
a
to
bit
Phil
about it.
Mickelson for saying, I'm not going to win, but I'm about to make a bunch of money on the last round, dropping a -7 and shooting from like nowhere on the board to second place pocket purse for the Masters. Jordan Spieth, I crapped on him. He didn't look like he was going to be any good after a +4 round 3, but he goes and drops a -6 in the third or fourth round. So, yeah,
Well,
you saw some cool
speaking
stuff.
of that,
John
did
Rahm
you-
was your champion, by the way.
Did you
Well
know
deserved.
that the final round hit a 5-year high viewership?
It was a good final round. That didn't surprise me, especially with the craziness of the scheduling and the tree falling from the weather.
Yeah.
But you know what? That John Rahm dude. Going into this weekend, remember I had made a comment that I thought he was the number 1 golfer in the world. He was only number 3. He's number 1 again now. He's already won 10 events this year and like $24 million.
$13.4.
$13.4 million in purse money.
Yep.
It's only April. Like,
4 wins, 7 top 10 finishes.
yeah, the dude's been a monster this year. So
he's doing pretty well. Like when I looked that up and I saw it, I was like, dang, he's doing good.
yeah, he's been balling out this year, so he'll be a name to keep watching.
And then of course, Tiger bowing out with injury. That
Yeah.
that blew.
Props for making the cut. Probably gave Dustin Johnson a 20 spot to take that last hole so he would keep his streak alive. But, I mean, it's been a great career. I would have hit on my bet, though, that Tiger made the cut. I also said that last week. I'm just saying, y'all should think I actually watched golf for some of my predictions. I was pretty close. I'm just saying. I might actually start playing. I haven't hit a golf ball. I don't know where it goes, but I hit it. So, then we roll in. There's not a ton going on in the NFL.
Well, hold on.
Oh, you got more?
We'll save the NFL for basically the last. So, NHL.
Oh, we do have to play hockey.
Yeah.
We have like a week left.
Stars clinched.
Yeah,
they clinch home.
We only had a couple. Yeah, and if they win out, because they won their last 4, I think if they win out and someone in front of them loses one game, they can jump to where they get the 3 seed or the 2 seed, one of the two, where they'll be able to have 2 home ice series, rounds 1 and 2. So, it's a 1-point game. Could be a big ending there.
And then I also saw that the Sabres have continued their streak of missing the playoffs for the 12th
I
straight year.
remember when they were so good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a lot about hockey, but
It was 12 years ago.
they used to be really good. I guess Steve Yzerman was playing back then, so that's back when I knew anything about hockey.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, next transition here, racing. So we don't talk a lot about racing because, well, there's not really a lot that goes on, and it's not that big of a deal.
Joey Logano did go down to racing the trucks on a dirt track this weekend and bullied the lower drivers and reminded them why NASCAR drivers are better and won the dirt race. So props to that, because that's not easy.
The Martinsville NOCO 400 is this Sunday.
Fun track. Martinsville's always a fun one. It's like Bristol. Small, short, quick. Never a lot of high speeds. You don't got to see a lot of crazy wrecks.
Yeah,
but
it's and then so I looked it up. The favorites of that is Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., and William Byron. They're all 6-1 odds.
Byron's been on his game so far to start the year, so that's
except for the fact that he's in 14th right now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I feel like he won like.
He's won twice.
Yeah, he's won 2 races. That proves that NASCAR's point system is crap. Because if you've won 2 races, you're not getting 14.
So and here's what we're
Jimmy
it's
Johnson,
because
as great as you are, you broke.
it's because of did not finishes and finishing later. Like he's actually done pretty well. Like I went ahead and looked at it. So he had 2 wins. He's got 3 top 5 finishes and 3 top 10s. And he had 2 DNFs. And then whatever else after that.
And here's the crazy part, though, is as they develop their playoffs in NASCAR, you realize you have to be in the top 10. He's got 2 wins and all those other stats, and because of 2 DNFs, he's not in the top 10. He's having a better season than most people.
Later finishes after 10.
Yeah.
So anything after 10 plus 2 DNFs. So the 2 DNFs hurt pretty bad.
Okay.
But then you have Bell, who's fresh off a win last week at Bristol. The only problem is...
Why would you do Bristol and then Martinsville back to back?
The only problem is Bristol was a dirt track.
Yeah, that's true. Bristol was the dirt
so
track. They did
this is what it really kind of messed me a little bit because Bell is in first place. Now, he's only got 1 win, which was last week.
Yeah.
But he's got 5 top 5 finishes and 6 top 10s.
Huh.
Like,
he's quietly
there. He's there. He's just other than...
Where are you seeing your standings?
I've already got them written down.
My standings have William Byron in first.
I went to NASCAR.com and got him.
Well, I forgot that was even a website. There it goes. I fixed it.
But so
it wasn't in the right order.
But you had Bell in first place. Kyle Larson is in fourth with 1 win, 3 top fives, and 3 tens. And Truex is in seventh. He ain't got a single win. He's got 2 top tens.
Yeah, Joey Logano has a win, two poles, 2 top fives, and 4 top tens, and he's in eighth. And Martin Truex is in seventh.
Yeah.
I don't quite always understand the point system.
This is okay. So this is what's making me like. If you're a betting person, you want to bet on someone. I feel like Kyle Larson is the right person to bet on, just because of this. It's either Kyle Larson or Byron,
okay.
And this is the reason. Kyle Larson leads with laps led with 438. Okay.
Damn.
All right. Byron is in second with 385. No one else even has 200.
Woo! It's been some dominant runners. Learn to finish.
So now that you're doing the Martinsville 400, like I feel like you're like them two having most of the laps led.
Qualifying matters a lot in Martinsville because it's such a small track.
Is, yeah.
If you qualify near the back, you hurt because it is so hard to get up the track. You're not going 3 wide at Martinsville. Mm-hmm. Bristol, when they do Bristol, the regular track, not the dirt version, the regular track, they're the same quarter-mile circle and that's usually why they do actually less mileage is because it gets boring. Like, at least when you're watching Daytona go in a big circle, like they're going 195 to 200 miles an hour. Like that's fun.
Left turn.
Yeah, but at 200 miles an hour, the minute one of them screws up, 6 cars go flying. That's fun.
A lot. So my first ever, the first ever time I went to a NASCAR was at Texas Motor Speedway, TMS, and I got spoiled because the first ever time I went, I was down in the pits.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it was my very first time, and let me tell you something about this. Okay, there is so much difference between sitting in the stands and watching it and being down there.
Oh, it's a party because, in the stands.
Well, I mean,
that's all it is.
Do what?
It's much next partying.
Oh yeah. Well, I just mean like watching though.
Oh yeah.
Like because I remember being there watching Greg Biffle, and when I'd look around, I'd be like, all right, there's 16. I'd see him coming and just like, there he goes.
Oh,
like it's so fast.
Watching them on TV, the camera work makes it look like they're going, and you're like, oh, okay. Like then you watch them, and you're like,
from the stands, like they're getting it. But man, when you're down there and you're watching them go, like
I will say that's probably my second favorite thing that I hear a sports broadcast do. Like when they quiet out and single eyes the ball off the bat in baseball, the crack, I love it. But when they do the let's hear it sound moments in a NASCAR race, especially at those big speed tracks, and they just quiet everything else out, and you just hear the vroom, 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 vroom. It's just like, motherfucker, they're fast. Like,
I took a picture. It's my favorite picture, but it's all blurry.
Yeah.
Like, I took the picture, like I was like, every time he'd come around, I tried to snap a picture. And I finally got one, and it was just like, you could tell that it was him, but it was not a clean picture at all. I was like, but it's the picture I took, so I'm keeping this.
Oh my gosh.
But, so I will say this, because I needed to see who was going to be my new driver, who I root for. He's not very good, but I'm rooting for AJ Allmendinger from now on.
Solid choice.
I haven't been paying that much attention since Biffle retired because that was my guy. But AJ Allmendinger is my dude now because not only does he drive a Chevrolet,
well, that could change in a matter of minutes.
but he drives the number 16. That's my number, baby. So that's why I chose Greg Biffle. He drove the 16. So the fact that I saw him driving the 16 and I saw that Chevy symbol, I was like,
and the Bulls have just won and advanced.
Wow.
Come back, take the win, and they're the first 10th place seed to win a playing game. That's scary because that means the Thunder don't have good odds as the second.
All right. So now let's jump into the NFL.
Jumping on some NFL.
Yeah. So Did you see the YouTube TV?
Yes, I'm a YouTube TV subscriber.
See the Sunday ticket price?
Yes, and I won't be subscribing. The only purpose of Sunday Ticket is you don't live near your team. Like, other than that, buy Red Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not getting to watch all the games at once on Sunday Ticket because, yes, you have access to them, but you got to change the channel to see every game and to hear it and do all that. So unless you just are a diehard, and I love the Dolphins through and through, but I don't love them enough to pay $250 to watch their games when I enjoy watching all the highlights on Red Zone more.
Well, hey, I tell you what.
$250 if you're a member.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And
$350 if you're not.
I saw Warren Sharp of Sharp Football on Twitter. He posted that the delay is 50 to 60 seconds on YouTube, which is actually double the time of what it was when it was with DirecTV. So it was like 20 to 30 seconds when it was with DirecTV. Now it's almost a minute.
Better stay off social media. You
so,
miss the whole damn
to me, I'm going, well, now it's not even worth it. It's because it's that far behind.
Because if something great happens, I'm going to see it on the internet within that timeline. That 60 seconds, that's crazy how fast the world goes. But in that 60 seconds, we'll probably have already shared it to our page for you.
And so that was what I was going to say. So you brought that up. If you want to come with my brother and I, we go up to that the new sports bar. Bearded Monkey.
Bearded Monkey. They have one
every Sunday, and we watch all the football games out there. They have some good food.
My wife and I have gone and played pool there a few times. I'm probably gonna have to do a Sunday like that with you. Sunday is the day of the week where I walk in and my family knows that from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, TV is mine. Thankfully, I got my wife.
We go up there at 11:30, and we stay there through about 3:15ish.
Yeah,
depending on the last game. We'll stay there the whole time.
We sit through all of the general slate, and then depending on how my fantasy team is doing or who's playing in the Sunday night game, I will watch Sunday night.
Yeah.
If my fantasy team is clinched, I'll tell my wife you want to watch something else because she enjoys watching the Red Zone with me all day.
Oh, okay.
Because my wife will do fantasy football. Like, she's done a couple free leagues. She's even won a league already. So she'll do it. So she's invested in keeping up with it because she expects every single one of her players to play like Jesus every time, and she's got her players that she loves. She loves Tyreek Hill. She loves Travis Kelce.
So she's probably not very happy about Tyreek Hill deciding to retire.
She doesn't know that yet.
Oh, Tyreek Hill is going to be retiring in 2025.
And you gotta be honest.
He's very confident about that.
It killed my ability to trade him in my dynasty league.
Oh.
Because I had him and Diggs, and I put them both on the block, and I was going to try to work for a first-round pick next year. Because you see what I'm trying to do is load up for first-round picks next year. Caleb Williams. Or Mark Andrews Jr. Or Drake May. Hell, all three of them. Nobody wants Tyreek Hill. They're like, he's a ticking clock. Yeah, no shit. I know he is.
That sucks.
I knew he was a ticking clock because of the type of player he was. I wanted to trade him anyway.
You know, speaking of ticking clocks, Lamar Jackson's deal looks like, he might actually stick around this year.
Well, they gotta help.
With
they brought
OBJ
in somebody.
Coming in.
You have to anticipate that OBJ is going to give you the best that he has in him because a large chunk of his, not a large chunk, but a chunk of his contract is incentive based.
Yeah.
So it's like $3 million in addition. So that's good money.
$50 million base with $3 million.
Yeah. So he's going to give you what he's got to make sure he gets all his money.
Oh yeah.
So
I think it was
the best
smart
receiver
move.
Even at this age that Lamar's played with. That's not.
I looked it up. Like, the last good receiver on that team that you could even closely compare him to was an old Steve Smith.
Yeah, that's the thing that Lamar gets crapped on for is, he's a running back and can't throw, but we've never seen him throw to anybody.
Yeah.
His best weapon has always been Mark Andrews.
Yeah. And
never
up until last year, Mark Andrews only played 60% of the games because he's not good at blocking. So they have to bring someone else in to block because they're going to run.
Yeah.
So up until last year,
he
finally had a season where he played more than 70% of the snaps.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is you just don't. considering his win-loss record and being an MVP and everything, for the fact that he's never really had weapons, it's hard. I get that you have to worry about the injuries and everything else, but at the same time, when you don't have weapons around you, you are more likely to take the risks that have led to some of the injuries.
Yeah.
So
that is true.
And OBJ doesn't fix all the problems. I still think you need a receiver. I think that you should address it, whether it's draft or trade. You still need somebody else if you're going to tell Lamar that he's your guy.
So you've got Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman's problem is he's just hadn't been healthy. So if he can actually get healthy, he's not bad.
Yeah.
And then you have Duvernay and Prochi that can play in the slot, which Prochi, you can really not.
Yeah.
Duvernay had a really good year last year.
He did start strong.
So
6 touchdowns in the first 5 weeks or something.
Yeah, he started out really good, and then teams kind of took away from it, and then of course Lamar Jackson went out, and then it just
hey, that's a Pro Bowl backup.
And I think Duvernay is all right, especially if you want to use him as a slot, because you have 2 guys on the outside that can do the work for you if you want him in the slot. So I don't really think that they have a need anymore at receiver unless you're going to look
for
a little bit later, just because OBJ is only on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So
at least get somebody to be ready for the next year.
Yeah, but if I'm them, especially in this draft, I would not take a receiver in round 1.
Oh, no.
Just because I don't think...
The receivers in this draft have continuously fallen back. At this point, I think the only one we see go in the first round is a Dallas product.
Yes. Yeah. Local. Very local product. Not just Dallas product.
Literally,
very local.
From where we film our show, the county line to the rock wall is a 6-minute walk.
So, right down the road. JSN, he's basically the only receiver in this draft that has a first-round grade from multiple people that I trust.
Yeah.
And after that, you have Addison, who Steve Smith has kind of propelled a little bit. After watching the video of him last night with Underdog Fantasy, they did a really good interview where he went over these receivers. What he said about Jordan Addison, it kind of made me think a little bit different about him, because everyone is kind of judging him on the way he looked at USC. And Steve Smith, he talked about it. He goes, what they did to him at USC made his stock fall. And if you look at what he had to do differently, they played him where he didn't need to be played. It didn't play to his strength the way that they should have.
Yeah.
So there might be a little bit more to him than he's getting credit. But I don't think he's going to be there for him. I think he's going to end up getting taken before them. And then after that is Quentin Johnston.
And he looks like a broke man's Mike Williams.
There's you see all the traits and you're like, dude,
he jumps off the
traits
paper,
are just like
but
there.
He hasn't
And then you
issues.
see him play and you're just it makes you question him, because they went over the Michigan game. He goes, if you watch this, the only reason why he had yards in this game was because they beat the blitz, or they beat the blitz, and it left him wide open. So it wasn't like he created the play; it was just he was wide open. So you can't you can give him credit for the after the yards and everything, but
really good at closing his eyes and throwing it.
But you can't really go, oh well, he had 200 yards in this game, and because he's really good.
Yeah,
you
but
just
then
look
what
at
did
it
he do
going,
against Georgia?
3 yards.
Did he show up to the game?
Ringo stuck on him, and Ringo is not even going to be a cornerback in the NFL. He's going to have to move to free safety.
Yeah.
That's what makes you go, ooh.
Yeah. So.
Ooh. But I am kind of worried about Baltimore. If I was them, I would look in the second round for a receiver, because I think you're going to find what you want. Whoever you're going to get in the first round, I think is going to be so close to the guy you're going to get in the second round, unless Addison or JSN somehow falls.
Yeah.
I think who you're going to get in the second round is so close to that person that you're wasting your draft pick.
We've seen
to
a
get
lot.
Someone there.
There's been some drafts that I don't even remember off the top of my head, but we've seen some drafts where the first round guys didn't amount. And then in the second round, we saw guys like A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, all those guys go in the same draft in the second round. In the first round, receivers, most of them can't remember their name. So
Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
In that draft, Hollywood Brown, that's it.
Yeah.
And that was because of his speed. That was
Yeah.
it. And Baltimore Ravens. That's who drafted him. But so DK Metcalf, the thing with him, I didn't realize it had nothing to do with the short shuttle that everyone was like, oh my God, it was like the slowest thing they've ever seen. He had a really bad neck injury. He had neck surgery. So teams were worried about the neck.
Makes sense.
That was the whole reason he failed. Like, for some reason, it just went out of everyone's mind because he tested so well. So they're like, oh, he's top 10 easily. Like, that's the greatest athlete we've ever seen. Like, look at those numbers. And then he goes in the second round, and you're like,
no
what?
homo, that dude's good.
So that's what it was he had a really bad neck injury, and people were scared that he wasn't going to be able to perform like he did. So that's all it was. Like, he would have been a first-round pick if teams would have had a better understanding of his recovery. But that draft, Marquise Brown, it was not good.
OKC game is now started. We're down by 3.
So staying on the quarterback train, apparently Aaron Rodgers' trade has kind of come to a standstill.
I think I heard a second and a first next year.
So
Smart.
Whatever it is, it's at a standstill. Both of them are standing their ground with what they want. And from what it sounds like, there may not be a trade done by draft time. And that's scary.
Yeah.
So
really making it hard for the Jets to keep doing any kind of team because they're so bought in on this decision.
Yeah.
They just posted a really funny stat that says Zion is out for his 46th consecutive game.
Oh my goodness.
So specific that they put 46th. Sorry.
God. No, that's terrible. And then in other quarterback news, I don't know if you saw this Dwayne Haskins stuff.
Yeah, the whole lawsuit thing. Yeah. I kind of touched on it a little bit. But
so
I know the truck's being the company that owns the truck is being sued because the truck didn't meet standards and that's why it hit him. The brakes were no good because it hadn't been serviced.
That and their conspiracy blackmail because he had drugs in his system, and like the whole thing is because he's just like this whole upstanding person that he would never do that, and I don't want to put anything bad on his name because obviously they know him, but how often do you hear someone go, I never expected that person to do that?
And then it happens.
And it happens.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
You can't just go, well, I know him, he would never do that. You don't 100% know that.
For sure.
Like, I mean, he was drunk. He was clearly drunk. There's apparently no issue with him being drunk. Because he's been drunk before, but the fact they had drugs in the system, all of a sudden it was like some conspiracy blackmail. Like someone was trying to do something to get money from him. Like I said, I don't want to put anything bad on his name, but it sounds stupid when I saw it.
That makes sense. I can see that. It'll be interesting how that all unfolds. It's probably gonna be one of those stories where we don't hear anything, and then out of nowhere we'll hear more, and we'll be like, "Oh, we forgot that was even a headline news thing to pay attention to." So. Those lawsuits usually end up like that. That's what happened with the concussions one. I mean, we talked about it. We all knew about it, and then all of a sudden it's already been settled, and I don't even remember what the result was. Like, And so,
man, what was the not to get political or anything, but the bank shooting in Kentucky, I think. I don't remember, but there was a mass shooting.
Oh my!
Yeah, so
that's your piece for the people.
I mean, like the reason I bring this up is they're talking about kids that he went to school with. Or they brought up this isn't something that he would have ever done. And then they started talking about, well, he had a lot of concussions in football, like to a point where when he played basketball, he wore special headgear. So he wouldn't get a concussion.
So he wouldn't get hurt when he fell on the floor.
I mean, they may do an autopsy to see if there was some issues, but they feel like there might be something there with the concussion problem. Not saying it was the concussion caused it, but
there are some states now, we were talking about that, I believe my wife and I were, that there are certain states now where if you have so many concussions in a certain window of time, the school is required to shut you down for the year. So like if you have 3 concussions in 6 months. Or even less than that. I have to go back and look,
but I'm fairly certain they said that he had like 2 in one game.
Okay, well the first thing is the coach needs to be fired for bringing him back in the game.
Yeah.
Like, that's the bigger issue. So, there's some way bigger issues going on there if he was able to have 2 concussions in one game. But then you only watch 2.
Don't want to get too much into that, so I'm not trying to get political, but I'm just...
Yeah, we really don't.
With that topic, it just reminded me of reading that article about the concussion.
It's a common thing in other realms and mental health sides of things and everything else.
So off that... what do you think about Saquon not signing the franchise tag?
Do you think he's not signing it because he doesn't want to do the mandatory stuff that they can't fine him for currently?
It's possible.
Now, I wouldn't sign it with my injury history. I'd want my extension.
I also saw that it's reported they're not even interested in talking long-term with him.
Then that is really crappy that they put it on him.
Yeah.
They're
doing it because, Cowboys doing the same thing with Pollard.
True.
Like, they're like 100% they're going to draft a running back and move on from Pollard.
I feel like that makes the franchise tag misused. Like,
these owners misuse everything.
Well, true. I feel like they're, for the safety of the players, true. For the safety of the players' sake, because of the physicality of the game, there should be some kind of like, this is our... proof that we're having contract conversation with this player before we do it. Because if you have no intention of that, then this player should be able to get out of this contract or this thing because he's not given this option. You're making him do this.
Yeah.
And that's where we get into the situation of, there's some gray area there that says that you can't crap on a player for not signing something that he's being forced to do.
Right.
You ain't going to force me to do nothing at my job.
I agree with that.
So, no, that's going to be hard. I don't blame him for not signing it, though. With his injury history, I wouldn't want to play for anything that wasn't 3 years.
I know.
And we forget that he's been healthy 2 times in 4 seasons. Like, he's only had 2 healthy seasons.
Yeah.
And one was his rookie year, and one was his money payment year.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's healthy the year their contract's up. I love Josh Jacobs last season. What's Josh Jacobs going to be this
he's playing on the franchise tag, so
Jacobs he hasn't signed an extension.
Here's the thing with Jacobs, though. Jacobs is young.
He is. He's only 24.
He's young.
24, maybe 25 for the season starts.
He didn't have a lot of use in college.
No.
So he's still got fresh legs. I believe that if he has a decent, solid year, that he'll get it's not going to be a huge contract, but it's going to be a very good contract for a running back. And it's going to be because he's so young at the position still.
Well, if the Raiders use him like they did last season, he balled out last year.
That is true. There was something else, speaking local here, that I saw today. I don't know how much stock I want to put into this, but I saw 2 things. The Titans are still very interested in moving on from King Henry.
And then another link to the Dolphins came out.
And then the second one is...
in our Miami realm.
The second one is... there's a rumor that the Cowboys are interested in trading for Derrick Henry.
That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make... I guess because the whole new philosophy of ground and pound that they're supposed to be taking on this year, that would make sense.
Right.
But... I don't get it.
It was 2 different articles...
It would be a win now.
That came out, I would say, within like 10 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
Like, I saved that one because I was like, oh, so they're still shopping him. And then I saw that one. I was like, no way they would do that. It's too big of a contract.
Yeah, but it's only 1 year, so it's not.
It
would be
they're still going to want something somewhat significant back.
If you're Dallas and you get him, you're saying 2 things. 1, we think we can win right now, and Derrick Henry can put us there.
100%.
2, Tony Pollard has shown us in practice that we don't know that he's coming back 100%.
Well, I don't think he's healthy enough to practice yet.
Well, exactly. But by the time the move is made, I mean,
Yeah.
the running back position is a spot that you can make that move. We saw with the 49ers. You can make that
Yeah,
move
yeah,
the second week of the season.
Yeah.
You can plug him in and play. He's going to
100%.
learn. He's going to learn handoff right, handoff left. He can learn his playbook pretty quick.
Just give him the ball.
Yeah, he's Derrick Henry. Just give him the damn ball. He'll find he's a train. So you don't have to make that move until week 3 or 4 of the spring training camp.
Yeah,
Like if the Titans really want to make that move, I mean,
I think if they want to make that move, they have to make it during the draft. They have to.
Mm-hmm.
Just because
I think
they're a team that has so many needs and they're in a rebuild where they have to do stuff.
They have pieces that can win now, but they have too many pieces that
They don't have
bring
no pieces
those
that can win
down.
now.
Derrick Henry's a win now piece at his age.
Well,
their defense has a
single
couple
piece.
decent plays on it.
Jeffrey Simmons,
Yeah,
that's about it.
they just paid him.
Yeah. So, like,
You're right, they suck.
let me
It used
let
to
me
be
show
that
you
they,
the roster.
it used to be that they looked better because their division was bad and they bullied the division, but now the division's good or better around them.
All right.
Jacksonville, at least.
Ryan Tannehill, who's going to be 35 this year.
Yeah, he got drafted old too.
Treylon Burks is the receiver 1.
Not bad.
The receiver 2 is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Exactly.
I know who he is.
Their tight end is actually looked pretty good last year at the end of the year.
Oh yeah,
Okonkwo.
Okonkwo. I
Yeah.
have him on a dynasty team.
So he looked fairly good last year. They brought in Andre Dillard from the Eagles.
Okay.
They brought in Daniel Brunskill from the 49ers.
Okay.
So that's their offensive line. And you have Nicholas Pettit-Frere that they drafted last year, who was not very good.
They're not going to be great.
Their defense, other than Jeffrey Simmons, is Danico Autry.
But you're going to have to give
Harold
them at least
Landry.
a second-round pick to get Derrick Henry
Probably, yeah.
for a 1-year deal.
And then their secondary is not very good, other than Kevin Byard.
Unless you're
Right.
giving up a second-round pick for a 1-year Thunder.
Tennessee is a team that's rebuilding. Like they're not.
It
They're
makes sense
not.
to give
They're
him Derrick
not
Henry for whatever you can get.
Yeah, they're not a playoff.
While he
team at
has
all.
value, don't let him walk for nothing. Give him to someone. Dallas would be the perfect team to make a move. Dallas or a Miami, because they're teams that are collecting big names.
Yeah.
Miami would be a good name to draw. If you're Miami, he's the best running back in
mean,
the room.
The problem with Miami is
They've
got a 3rd-round pick.
You're gonna start giving away picks next year. The Dolphins they got a bunch of young stuff, and then they started trading all that, and now we're the Rams.
Well, yeah, I was about to say
We're getting really close to being the fuck them picks. We better win a fucking Super Bowl. That's it. If you don't win a Super Bowl, it's not worth it, because otherwise, look at the Rams.
Once you have to pay Tua,
the Rams,
you've already lost.
Yeah, the Rams are crap now, and are gonna blow up that team. And they did the FM picks.
What is that? Okay, so Tua's last season on the contract is 2023, so this season. So
yeah, this is
next
it.
year, yeah.
Yeah,
so this is it.
And you picked up his 5th-year option. So, no, it'll be interesting. Or we suck really bad and trade everything to get the first pick because Caleb Williams wants to be a Dolphin anyway.
Yeah,
not gonna happen. He'll be a Falcon.
Let's see.
He'll be a Buccaneer.
The Lamar news. I totally forgot about this. The Colts, apparently they're not interested in Lamar. They're
I've heard that
focused on the draft.
They're focused on the draft and getting Anthony Richardson, who I can hear.
Okay, this is going to sound really crazy, but I'm actually starting. I'm very active on Twitter. I follow a lot of people that know a lot of things.
Yeah, he likes to talk crap on people's stupid posts.
Yes, love to. Apparently, Lamar Jackson, he's not going to do a slide, but the media may actually have him ranked a little bit higher than what the NFL actually does.
Talking about Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Well, that would be good, because
there's a possibility. Don't expect him at 3. Don't expect him in the top 10. There's a possibility he could be drafted in teens. Why? Because he's not going to be ready for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, he's got a lot of development.
We're overvaluing.
He didn't play a lot of college football.
Yeah, how well he did at the combine compared to
we're good at that.
Anything else.
We're really good at that.
And everyone is like, but, and And then you have to draw that back and go, yeah, but that's what he is right now.
Yeah. So
you can't put all these buts and ifs. Like, sure, Trevor Lawrence could be a terrible pick. He could be the greatest pick ever.
He's not looking like a terrible pick.
Brock Purdy could be a dumb pick.
In 7th round, nobody cares.
At 7th round, nobody cares. Mr. Irrelevant. Now he's a smart pick. Trey Lance was a kind of a great pick where you're like, hey, all he needs is a year and he's going to be this dude that comes in and he's going to be the next guy. Now he's getting beat out by Mr. Irrelevant, and the 49ers are apparently possibly shopping him already.
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot about just
quick it can change.
And that's why the whole Trey Lance thing. So the Trey Lance thing happened because the Jordan Love thing happened.
True.
Because they were like, oh, Packers actually got this dude that fell to them late. Now we got the same type of guy. We have to get him early because we can't let someone else get him later on.
Exactly.
Have to get him early. Now that experiment has backfired in their face, a lot of teams are going to look at that and go, ooh, I got to pull back a little bit. We can't do that again.
Yeah.
We can't make that.
Nobody wants to be the second one to screw up.
Yeah. So that I do have a feeling, like I still got him with the Colts. I still do. But I'm waiting for a little bit more information. My final, my penultimate, there's that word again, penultimate mock, it's going to be coming out Friday. But my last one will be in 2 weeks, or just the night before the draft is when I'm going to be dropping that one. But between that time, I still have Richardson to the Colts. Okay. There's not enough yet that's telling me to draw back. So I do feel like he probably will be there just because the Colts are a team that they need a quarterback. So they might end up trading back and going, now we'll take him.
Which makes sense.
So that's
they need
a
lot of things, so trading back for that wouldn't hurt them.
Yeah. So. And then speaking of the draft, you have Okudah getting traded to Atlanta.
This is true.
So that opens the door for who I already had Detroit basically going after a cornerback anyway. That just makes a cornerback to them
make more sense because the guys they brought in are veteran guys on short-term deals.
One of them is till 2025. The other one is a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
I forgot which one it was. I think Mosley was on a 1 year. But yeah, and both of them are one of them, I think Mosley is the one that's more of a slot type of cornerback anyway. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you're going to really want to use him in the slot just because you also brought in Gardner Johnson, who's pretty good in the slot himself. So
sure.
I don't know how. I think he's going to be more depth than anything. So you still need that outside receiver since Okudah just
couldn't do it. Couldn't stay healthy either.
He was kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
And then of course Devin White getting traded or asking for a
trade, which
only the Bucs have already said nope.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade him. I don't want to pay him. He's a stud. So.
And so a little bit more about the draft because I do want to talk about the draft. So
let's hear
it. There is a big question about Stroud and Bryce Young at quarterback 1.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that, seen that changing going on.
Yeah, there's
betting lines now changed to where Stroud is now the Vegas favorite.
Well, Stroud has been the Vegas favorite.
Or Young is now the Vegas favorite.
So a lot of this is because of Lance Zierlein for NFL.com. He is from Houston. He's got Houston contacts. He is a Houston insider. So listening to what he says is very important.
Yeah.
If Bryce Young goes number 1, there is a strong possibility that the Texans don't go quarterback just because of the agent that Stroud belongs to, who is the same agent that Deshaun Watson was with. So there's a bad history there. But my thing is if you're going to hang your hat on a bad relationship from an agent who's an agent for dozens of other people in the NFL,
exactly.
Like that's bad business.
That's not the right decision. You're going to have to, the agent's going to know how to put the issues of the past aside.
Right, you got to put the player first.
That's a player by player basis.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, you've got a problem.
So I really feel like that whole thing is getting overblown, and I laughed about it because Lance Zierlein brought it up, and people just absolutely wrecked him for it. Now you've got Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter and all these guys talking about it, and not a single one of them are giving Lance Zierlein credit for being the one to put it out there for the world to know in his mock draft and talking about it and defending it. And last year, he hit both of the Texans' picks. Both of them. He said Stingley was going to be over Sauce Gardner. Stingley was the pick. He said that they were going to go after the guard. They went after the guard. Like, he's someone that you need to listen to
when
in
it
his
comes
information.
to a certain region. He knows his team.
Like, there are players in this that you, or not players, but there are people that are connected to certain teams that you have to listen to what they're saying, because there's a reason that they say this stuff.
Most of these guys had a step that got them to the national level that started with a local media contact that got them there.
And then, of course,
they didn't just magically start on ESPN.
I wrote down the Richardson hype thing. There's that. And then what we talked about last week, Adibawari. So, nickname is Addy Addy, or Audie Audie.
Yes.
Okay. So, we talked about how Mel Kiper had him in the first round, and I laughed about it, and I was like, that's stupid. Okay? Yeah. Mel Kiper put out a mock draft this week. Audie Audie was number 50.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, look at that.
Mel Kiper doesn't know what's going on outside.
But what he said in the comment of his pick made me want to reach through my phone, find Mel Kiper, and slap him right upside the head, because even though he had him in like mid to late first round, I forgot where he had him, and then this one, he put him at 50. In the comment, he said, but he could go in the top 15.
Oh, God.
You got this dude at 50, but you want to put in your comments that he could go in the top 15? Put him in the top 15, son.
Put him
in the top 15.
Make the call. Don't be scared.
So, it really blew my mind that whenever I saw that.
Yeah.
The other one that's coming up is Hendon Hooker. He's getting a lot of first round love here recently.
His age is going to be the thing that we say hold him back.
His age, the ACL tear. And so I talked to Matt Miller of ESPN on Twitter. I asked him it was more about Dalton Kincaid, the tight end from Utah, who's going to be 24.
Yeah.
I asked him about the age thing, and he told me, he goes, from everything he's heard, age isn't a huge deal this year, just because there's so many players that are a little bit older.
The fifth-year senior thing is a big deal right now because of all the COVID.
Because of the COVID. So he said that right now the age thing isn't something that's playing a factor too much, but Hooker's 25, and that's a whole different story. He's already 25.
Yeah.
He's not ready for the NFL yet. So that means he's probably going to have 1 year of rest, or not, 1 year of learning stuff. Yeah. So you're not going to get him until he's 26 years old.
Yeah.
As a start. And so I don't think that that's a first round guy. I don't see it. And someone that I follow brought it up, and they said what's going on is a lot of mock drafters are just trying to spice things up because they don't want to put the same kind of stuff out every single week.
You gotta make your mock clickbait worthy.
Yeah. So
the only
Hendon
mock
Hooker
that
is
really
getting that right
matters
now.
Is your last mock.
Yeah.
So that was.
So there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, that's.
And Hendon Hooker is one of them that's getting a lot of that.
Like we talked about with Andy Richmond, you might see him coming out and all these mocks coming out the day before the draft and the teams.
So I do.
Huddle Report is what he was about to say, I'm pretty sure, which his draft will get put on there, and then he can give us the link, and we can share you the website link to the Huddle Report so that you can go see his mock draft.
On Huddle Report, you can go and look at or just last year or 5 years. You can't look at anything else, but you can look at last year and see who was accurate, and then you can look at who's been accurate for the last 5 years. So Ryan McChrystal of Shark Football, he's been the third most accurate over the last 5 years. He's one of them that has Anthony Richardson falling in the teens. And the information that he was putting was about the whole kind of Malik Willis situation. The media is kind of propping him up a little bit more than what he really should be. And that's what's kind of he also brought the same thing up with Hendon Hooker. Is just this whole, right now he's getting this post-combine bump just because people are tired of doing the same thing, so they're spicing it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew something was up, and he fell for the Adiba Warrior thing. So I laughed about it because he's a very active person, but his newest one, he put his big board up and Adiba Warrior was out like 60-something. And I was like, yeah, son. I'm glad you came to the realization that was stupid. But all right, so that's basically it. The receivers, we talked about that already.
A little bit. So
the last one, where does Bijan Robinson go? Where does he fit?
Fits on a few teams, but it's going to be a matter who.
Yeah.
Still would love to see him get back by the Eagles. They won't do it. But
they won't do it. So, I've been constantly harassing people that do it. Harassing them is I would say harassing, but every time I see it, I'll put on there 1986 Keith Byard.
Yeah.
That's the last time they did it. Well, do you know they're not the only team that's done that? Yeah, there's a team that's done it even longer. Oh, since like 1960s. Yeah. The Washington Commanders have not drafted a running back since 1967 in the first round.
Woo! Well, that might be a hard way to say that they go after Bijan now.
I have him as one of the best fits.
Yeah, it would make sense. I mean, it'd be a team that could use him. Detroit's been a popular name as someone who just traded for David Robinson in a fantasy league. I hope he does it.
And then the other one is the Chargers.
Oh,
because
if you trade to make that move,
Austin Eckler wants out of LA.
Yeah,
like he wants out. He's already said the worst possible outcome is to play for him next year. Like he does not want to be there because they don't respect him
and
they don't want to pay him.
Yeah.
So what's the best way to do it? Draft his replacement,
and then you can trade him.
Yep,
that would make sense. You could literally move him on draft day, get an asset to pick something else, and then pick up somebody else.
Yep.
So that would make sense. But it'll be fun. Draft's a few weeks out, and it's gonna keep having all kinds of crazy whispers and pearls.
Oh yeah. Yeah, mine's gonna be a little weird too. I've got someone going to Washington that's
clickbait. No.
It's not a Dibaware type clickbait or Anthony Richardson falling. Like I said, he's still staying up there. No, I put Osiris Torrance to Washington there.
And sure who that guy is.
All right, he's the guard from Florida.
Okay.
The reason I'm doing, and I'll go ahead and say this now. You're going to see it anyway. It doesn't matter. The reason is when I looked at all their top 30 visits and everything that they did, what Washington is really looking for is interior lineman. They looked at him. They looked at TCU's Avila. They looked at Cody Mock, who is going to be like a later pick, so they probably trade down in the second to get him, or they just take him in the second. But they're looking at a lot of interior guards, and they're looking at a lot of slot cornerbacks.
Gotcha. All right.
And I noticed that pattern that Avila and Torrance, they looked at him at the Senior Bowl. They looked at him at the Pro Day. They brought him in for a 30-minute visit. They had a Zoom call, and then they had one other thing. And I was like, they're like sticking to this.
Yeah.
And Rivera has come out and said that they want to stick to ground and pound football this year. Like they want to run the football.
Yeah.
Now, going for Bijan it would help that, but going for the best guard, well, technically Peter Scronson's best guard.
Sprucing off your offensive line to let Robinson have a power line to run behind would be good too.
So
makes sense.
That to me, I think it's because he's the highest I've seen him is the Seahawks with their second pick, but majority of the time he's very low, close to like the Cowboys.
Okay.
So it's kind of spicy. It's kind of not just because it's a guard, so like it's not that spicy. But compared to where he's been typically drafted at, it's kind of spicy.
Yeah, so that'll work.
So if y'all stuck around this long,
I was gonna say
that's
we went a little
spicy.
long tonight, but that's all good. We'll I think we're gonna wrap it up, and we'll see y'all next week.